Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm Blackbright, and I don't know how many of you have seen the Grenfell Effigy. I'm just going to give you a little background. On the 5th of November every year in the UK, we have Guy Fawkes Night, which is where traditionally people had bonfires in their back gardens and they would throw fireworks. They would buy fireworks and you would see a display of fireworks and bonfires, and everybody would huddle around the bonfire and just watch the fireworks. Anyway, the reason why Guy Fawkes Day came around and bonfire night was because in 1605 they found out about a plot to blow up the Houses of Parliament. And one of the conspirators, a Catholic conspirator by the name of Guy Fawkes, I think he led on it and they hung him. So now every year we somehow celebrate the fact that we were able to prevent the Houses of Parliament from being blown up. Now, what's happened now is that just on Monday, which was the 5th of November, this video has been going around, viral now, where 5 men created an effigy of Grenfell Tower, put it on top of a bonfire, did little cutout faces and put them in the little windows that they'd constructed on this cardboard cutout, and watched it burn. Where some of those cutouts fell to the ground, they would stoke them back into the fire. Sick. Now, I'm sure you must have heard about Grenfell Tower. It was not the June just gone, but the June before. Building caught fire because of a faulty fridge apparently on the 4th floor, and a lot of people, mostly immigrants, died in that building. The cladding was so poor it just consumed the building within minutes, and so the firemen couldn't do anything. So you can imagine, when I remember waking up that morning and seeing, people at the windows with lighters, and, people, so many, it was awful, absolutely awful. So to see this effigy going around where somebody had deliberately created it, made windows of it, put people, cardboard cutouts of people with faces on them, and put it on a fire and watched it burn to recreate what happened over a year and a half ago. There was rumours that that fire was started deliberately, because that building is in a very rich part of London. South Kensington, you can't afford it. And, they used to think it was an eyesore. And then on top of it, it was, I think 90% immigrants. So there was this rumour going around that it was started deliberately because they couldn't get the people out. And it was one way of getting, and apparently they'd put the insurance up to include human life in Grenfell Tower so that it was okay for all those people to burn. So when we see that effigy burning, it can't help remind us that about the rumours, about, was it done deliberately? Was that fire started deliberately? Were these people who created the video reminding us of how it actually happened without realising what they were doing? They gave themselves up and they've been arrested for creating a public disturbance. But I'm thinking about the survivors who have had to watch that all over again. There's so many Muslims, whereby fire is considered, one of the worst ways to die. So you've got people who are just getting over, it's 18 months, just over 18 months, who are just getting over probably the grief, the trauma, and to have that recreated so that they have to relive watching their loved ones die. and the replicas of it. I think it's so sad. And you know, as a black person, you can't help feeling uneasy, because not only we know that there was a lot of immigrants in there, mostly I think it was a lot of Muslims. There were a few blacks in it, but I think it was predominantly Muslims in there. Some private owners. I mean, there's rumours that some of them were not legal in there, or there's a whole heap of stuff going on. But anyway, the amount of people they claimed that died, it was more than that. But of course, you know, families were unable to claim the true number. So we'll never know how many people died in that fire. So, but then we have got to face the fact that, you know, it does remind us of the hate that's in some people and what some people will do in order to get rid of a race of people. And then we have to think about the lynchings. We have to think about how they burnt people, how they drawn and quartered them. You know, all of those things, the mind of people that do that, the minds. What kind of mind does somebody have that can do that to a fellow human being? But there again, they say we're not human. They don't think black people are human. A lot of people, you know, who are racist, they just think I don't know what they think we are. I mean, the fact that we talk, the fact that we do exactly what they do, I don't know what they think we are. Maybe they think we're aliens or something. I don't know. But it's not a nice feeling. It's very uncomfortable. I was unable to put the video up because it could be considered a hate video or hate crime, and we're not allowed to promote hate crimes or hate videos. But what I did do is I did a quick poem. Well, I made the poem last night so that it could reflect how I felt about what was going on. And I'll read it out to you. Sorry about my eyes. I'm having to look down to read it because I don't know it by heart. I can't. Okay. I called it the Grenfell Effigy. What goes on in the minds of those who created an effigy of a building where so many died needlessly? Why would men laugh at an effigy burning down with images representing tenants falling onto the ground? I watched them stoke the cutouts back in just to make sure they were all burning. A reconstruction was made out of cardboard and ribbon. They created a building where we lost so many children. And the men were filming and laughing at the final hour when so many lives were lost in Grenfell Tower. What's so funny about children crying for their mummy, or those holding up a light before they lost the fight? These men had the audacity to make fun of those who died in such a mindless tragedy. They were filming it, stoking it, provoking it, until every cut-out character was burnt in it. They made sure of it. The sound of expletives filled the night air, while wandering survivors are still out there in a post-traumatic coma. Let their souls rest in peace, please. Survivors should not be forced to relive the pain and mourn their loved ones all over again. Yeah, so that was my commemoration, or not even commemoration, that was my interpretation of the video I saw, how it made me feel. You know, because I remember waking up that morning and as it was burning and seeing those people at the top, they were still alive at the time, and they had lighters, or they had the lights on their phones to tell the fire brigade, look, we're still here, we're still alive. But the fire brigade, they weren't equipped to go, they didn't have the equipment to go so high up. So we had to watch them burn. And a lot of those firemen, they had to have counselling because they were so traumatised, because that's their job to save lives and they couldn't. And I mean, the speed at which that fire engulfed that building, you know, we'll never ever forget it for a long time. So when we see that symbolism recreated, when we see people create an effigy of that building and put it on top of a fire and deliberately watch it burn, it just makes you think, what are they trying to tell us? Well, it's not even what they are trying to tell us, it's what they are telling us. What the message behind that act is not a nice message. But what can we do? There's nothing we can do really. And then on top of that, we've got, anyway, I'm not even going to go into it. So yeah, that's all for now. Bye.